You know what I realized? The people who win arguments aren't the loud ones. They're not the ones screaming or slamming tables or making big dramatic speeches. Those people, they actually lose, even when they think they're winning. The real winners are the quiet ones, the calm ones, the ones who never raise their voice, but somehow everyone ends up agreeing with them. I used to think that was magic. Some people just had it and I didn't. I was wrong. I used to lose every argument, every single one. My girlfriend would win, my boss would win, even my little brother would win arguments against me, and I'd get so frustrated I'd either blow up and look crazy, or I'd just give up and walk away feeling like garbage. Then one day I was in a coffee shop and I saw something that changed everything. Two people were arguing about a business deal. One guy was getting louder and louder, talking faster, interrupting, getting red in the face. The other guy, he just sat there, calm, quiet, nodding occasionally. And at the end, the loud guy agreed to everything the quiet guy wanted. I watched the quiet guy walk out with the deal he wanted, and I thought, what just happened? So I started studying this. I watched calm people win arguments. I tested techniques on myself. I failed a lot at first, but eventually I figured out the exact formula. But first, you need to understand something crucial. Winning an argument isn't about being right. It's about the other person believing you're right. Big difference. You can have all the facts in the world, but if you deliver them wrong, you lose. Master these 5 techniques, and you'll win even when you're only half right. So let's get into it. 1. The strategic pause. Here's what most people do in an argument. The other person says something they disagree with, and immediately, instantly, they jump in with their response. No gap, no breath, just immediate reaction. That's exactly what loses you the argument. Why? Because when you respond instantly, you look defensive, you look emotional, you look like you're reacting instead of thinking. And people don't trust reactive people. Here's what winners do instead. When someone says something they disagree with, they pause. 3 full seconds of silence. They look at the person, they think, then they respond. Those 3 seconds do something magical. First, it makes you look thoughtful instead of reactive. Second, it makes the other person slightly uncomfortable. They start wondering if maybe what they said was wrong. Third, it gives you time to actually think of a better response, instead of saying the first thing that pops in your head. I tested this with my girlfriend during a disagreement about moving apartments. She made a point about the cost. Old me would have immediately fired back with my counter-argument. New me paused, looked at her, waited 3 full seconds, then calmly said, I see what you mean about the cost. She actually softened immediately. The pause made her think I was considering her point seriously instead of just waiting to attack it. Then, I presented my side, and she was way more open to it. Try this today. Next time someone disagrees with you, count to 3 in your head before responding. Watch how differently the conversation goes. That pause is pure power. 2. Agree first, then redirect. This one feels backwards at first, but it's devastatingly effective. Most people think arguments work like this. They say their point, you say your opposite point, you battle until someone gives up. But that's not how you win. That's how you create enemies who never actually change their mind. Here's the real way. When someone makes a point you disagree with, you agree with part of it first. Find anything, even something tiny, that you can genuinely agree with. Acknowledge it, then add your perspective. It sounds like this. You're absolutely right that the project is behind schedule, and here's what I think we should do about it. Or, I completely understand why you'd feel that way given what happened. From my side, here's what I saw. Why does this work? Because humans have something called psychological resistance. When you disagree with someone directly, their brain puts up walls. Every word you say after that hits a wall. They're not listening, they're just defending. But when you agree first, even partially, those walls come down. Their brain thinks, oh, this person gets it. This person understands me. Now they're actually listening when you present your side. I had a coworker who kept pushing back on my marketing ideas. Every meeting, he'd shoot them down. I used to argue back directly. Never worked. Then I tried this technique. He said my idea was too expensive. Instead of defending the cost, I said, you're right, budget is super important, and we need to be smart about spending. Here's how this actually saves us money long term. Showed him the numbers. He agreed. First time ever. You're not being fake, you're being strategic. Find the truth in what they're saying, acknowledge it, then guide the conversation where you want it to go. 3. Ask questions instead of making statements. Here's a secret about arguments. The person asking questions controls the conversation, always. Watch any good lawyer. They don't make speeches, they ask questions. Isn't it true that Would you agree that how do you explain questions put the other person on defense while making you look curious instead of aggressive? When you make statements, people can disagree. This is the best approach. No, it's not. Done. You're in a battle. When you ask questions, people have to think, what do you think would happen if we tried it this way? Now they're thinking through your scenario. You're planting your idea in their head, but they're arriving at it themselves. And people believe their own conclusions way more than yours. I used this with my boss when I wanted to work from home more. I didn't say, I should work from home because I'm more productive. That's attackable. Instead, I asked, have you noticed my output has been higher on the days I work from home? He thought about it. Yeah, actually it has. Then I asked, what if we tried 3 days from home instead of 1? He agreed because he'd already admitted the first part. The question path is indirect, but way more powerful than the direct statement path. Start practicing this now. Instead of we should do X, ask, what would happen if we did X? Instead of you're wrong about Y, ask, how did you come to that conclusion about Y? Questions disarm people while statements arm them. 4. The evidence. Sandwich. Okay, this is where it gets really good. Most people present evidence wrong and it destroys their argument even when they're completely right. They dump all their facts at once. Here's reason 1, reason 2, reason 3, reason 4, reason 5. By reason 3, the other person has stopped listening and started preparing their counterattack. Here's the winning formula. 1 piece of evidence, then stop. Let it land. See their reaction. If they're not convinced, add 1 more piece, then stop again. Keep going until you see the shift. I call this the evidence sandwich. You start with a piece of evidence, let them respond, then add another layer based on what they said. You're building your case in real time based on what's actually working, not dumping everything at once. I watched a guy do this in a meeting about changing suppliers. He didn't list all 10 reasons to switch. He said one thing. The current supplier has been late on the last 4 deliveries. Then he stopped. Let people think about that. Someone pushed back. He added 1 more layer. And their pricing has gone up 20% in 6 months. Stopped again. By the 3rd piece of evidence, everyone was nodding. He never even used the other 7 reasons. Why does this work? Because it feels like a conversation instead of a lecture. The other person feels heard between each point, and you're watching what actually convinces them instead of guessing. Plus, when you stop after each piece of evidence, you look confident. Like, you don't need to overwhelm them with everything because each point is strong enough on its own. Next argument, try this. Make your strongest point. Full stop. Wait for their response. Then add your second strongest point based on what they said. Watch how much faster you win them over. 5. The power of walking away. This is the ultimate technique. The one nobody uses because it feels like losing, but it's actually the most powerful move you have. Here it is. When the argument is getting heated and going nowhere, you simply say, let's take a break and come back to this. Then you walk away. I know what you're thinking. That sounds like giving up. It's not. It's the opposite. Walking away when things are heated is the ultimate power move because it shows you're in control of yourself. Here's what happens when you stay in a heated argument. Voices get louder. Logic disappears. Everyone says things they regret. And even if you technically win, you've damaged the relationship. That's not actually winning. Here's what happens when you walk away calmly. The other person's anger has nowhere to go. They cool down. They start thinking about what you said instead of just reacting. And when you come back later, they're way more reasonable. I had a huge argument with my best friend about money he owed me. We were going in circles, getting louder. I felt myself about to explode. Then I remembered this technique. I said, I need to take a break. Let's talk about this tomorrow. And I left. He was shocked. The next day, he texted me saying we should figure it out. We met up and solved it in 10 minutes. No yelling, no drama, done. The walk away only works if you do it right, though. You can't storm off angry. That's just dramatic. You say calmly, I want to figure this out, but I think we both need some time to think. Let's revisit this soon. Then you leave with your head up. This shows massive emotional control. It shows you care more about the right solution than winning right now. And that's the kind of person people respect and listen to. Walking away isn't weakness. It's strategic strength. It's knowing when to fight and when to reset. The best arguers know when to pause the game. Here's what this is really about. These 5 techniques aren't just tricks. They're all pointing to one deeper truth. The person who controls their emotions controls the argument. When you pause instead of reacting, you're controlling your emotions. When you agree first, you're controlling your ego. When you ask questions, you're controlling the flow. When you give evidence slowly, you're controlling the pace. When you walk away, you're controlling the entire situation. Loud people aren't powerful. They're out of control. Calm people who use these techniques, they're running the whole show. I went from losing every argument to winning almost all of them in about 2 months using this exact system. Not because I became smarter or learned more facts, because I learned to stay calm and use the right techniques at the right time. Same person, same brain, different approach. And people started listening to me like they never had before. Your action plan right now. Here's what you do today. Pick one technique, just one. Maybe it's the strategic pause because that's the easiest. Maybe it's asking questions because you're good at those already. Whatever feels most natural. Next time you're in any disagreement, even a small one about what to eat for dinner, use that one technique. Don't try all 5. Just practice one until it feels automatic. Then add the second technique next week. Then the third. In 1 month, you'll be using all 5 without thinking about it. And here's what's going to happen. People will start saying things like, "You always make such good points," or "You're really good at this." They won't even know why they're agreeing with you more. They'll just know that when you speak, it makes sense. You'll walk into arguments confident instead of anxious, because you'll have tools instead of just emotions. So pick your technique now. Use it today. Come back and tell me how it went. Because once you see how powerful calm strength is, compared to loud weakness, you'll never go back. Stop yelling. Stop getting emotional. Start using these 5 techniques. Watch how fast you start winning every argument without ever raising your voice. You already have everything you need. You're just doing it wrong. Fix the approach, and the wins come automatically.